You're looking at a photograph of Belarus partisans being publicly hanged. The invading Nazis wanted to send a message to the local populace not to mess with them, and this is the result. They wanted to prove how brave and ruthless they were by hanging a college girl in the public square. What you'll be seeing in this video is a message that the federal government tried to send to me. You'll see the complete destruction of my 10-acre ranch, not only the destruction, but the complete removal of my 10-acre ranch from the face of the earth. This was an act of retaliation, apparently by the CIA with the help of local cops and criminals in response to my posting of an internet file. You can view that file at pastebin.com, and I'll give you the exact address. Now, throughout history, madmen and murderers have tried to send various messages to people. In the 1990s, the FBI sent a message by roasting 80 people, men, women, and children alive at Waco, Texas. Including were 25 little white children who were, of course, unarmed. The message they wanted to send is that we are ruthless and will kill anyone who crosses us. Now, there's also footage of the San Bernardino County Sheriff included because they are the police agency in the area. San Bernardino County, California, is the largest county in the United States, and the San Bernardino County Sheriff patrols most of it. They have deeply implicated themselves in this atrocity, this crime, and it seems as if it would be impossible for it to have taken place without their permission and guidance even. So you'll also see tape of the San Bernardino County Sheriffs at a news conference on the occasion of the celebration of the capturing of Christopher Dorner, the rogue LAPD officer who was murdering cops all around Southern California. Now, you may not know this, but what in fact happened was the San Bernardino County Sheriffs cornered him in a cabin in Big Bear, the mountains, and they burned it down by firing incendiary devices, incendiary tear gas canisters inside the cabin, almost identical to the ones used to burn down the Waco compound. Now, they denied doing this, of course, but the facts are otherwise. And what you may not have heard, but you can look on another YouTube video, hear about this, is when they searched the rubble of the cabin, they found the body of Dorner. They then cut off his arms and legs and took pictures of the corpse and tried to sell them to the TMZ television show website. And Harvey, the host owner, talks about this on another YouTube video. So the San Bernardino County Sheriffs are, in many instances, animals. They are also known as being thieves. In fact, the sheriff of San Bernardino County, the top guy, whose name was Tidwell, in the 1980s holds the Guinness World Record for stealing the most amount of guns from the United States ever in recorded history. He was caught with approximately 543 guns that he had stolen from the evidence room during his career as the San Bernardino County Sheriff, and he was charged with 543 felonies at least, and those are the only ones that he admitted. He would have been eligible for some 1,000 years of prison, but he in fact got 0 prison time, and he was even allowed to sell the guns and profit from it. So you can see there is no justice and there is no law in San Bernardino County. Now, background on this particular case, it was in retaliation for my public posting of a computer log file, a log file for a program called the FBI Toolbox, and I posted it on pastebin.com, as I said. Now, the FBI Toolbox would not today be such a big deal. It's basically a run-of-the-mill spyware, probably, and it was something I discovered. The FBI tried to send it down the internet tube to infest my computer. I intercepted it, and retrieved it, as did many, many, many thousands of people around the world. It was apparently a huge blunder on the part of the FBI. But it also implicated the CIA, because it mentions various protocols, namely CIA-2, which implies that there were some conventions in place at the time as to what the CIA needed to do, what things it needed, what tools it needed, which would need to be programmed into this program. And the FBI toolbox mentions CIA-2. So in the year 2000, 2001, apparently they were already well along in their illegal spying against Americans within the borders of the U.S., which is, of course, illegal and shows that they were in contempt of Congress. Now, the CIA, when they learned that I had the intention of posting this, acted non-concerned, but actually they launched a manhunt for me, according to people I know, and they did find me, and that's a funny story in itself. I met some of the stupidest bubbas on Earth, because the CIA generally uses local aspects to do what they want to do within the borders of the U.S. Not always. Perhaps you heard of the Unabomber, Ted Kaczynski. He was a brilliant mathematician, and the CIA conducted experiments on him to see if they can crack a highly intelligent person. And, of course, they succeeded. And they did that operation within the borders of the U.S. So any talk of them not doing things in the U.S. is clearly a lie. But they do use local assets. They don't show up with big vans that are marked CIA and start going through your files and things. They apparently placed a call to the local cops and said, hey, we got a problem, can you help us with this? The local good old boys were only too glad to comply, because it meant that they could keep all of the goods, which amounts to at least $250,000 worth of things that they stole. And as I said, the San Bernardino County Sheriff have implicated themselves very deeply in this. So the CIA apparently was a shot caller on this, and you'll see that they went through every single one of my papers and scattered them all over. They did this in the apparent belief that I had other files on paper that they might retrieve and cut me off at the pass. So the basic idea was this was retaliation for my posting of this file on Pastebin. Now, pastebin.com is spelled like that, and when you go to Pastebin, there's a white search box over to the right of the main page, and you'll type in my username. In the white box, you can type in the small letter U followed by / and then my username, which is Agent PGP, as you can see spelled there. It's capital A-G-E-N-T, no space, and then capital P, capital G, capital P. The search tool on pastebin.com is not that great, so you have to get it exactly right. Then you'll see a few files, another guy with a similar name, but mine would be the FBI Toolbox. There you'll see the complete log file of the FBI Toolbox. Now, what the log file is that Windows generates log files when it loads programs, and in some cases when programs malfunction, to let you know what went wrong. So apparently something went really, really wrong with the FBI Toolbox, because people all over the world reported that this had occurred on their computers as well, and it did cause my computer to crash many times. So I was really upset about that. Now, the log file itself is a text file, so you can look at it just by clicking on it, open it up as a text file, and you can read through it. You don't need to be a programmer at all. You just need to read English, and you'll notice from the remarks, which are statements following the word REM, what's going on. Remarks are little notes that programmers put into programs to let them know where they're at and what section they're working on at the present time. So the remarks of the program talk about different things that it does, like disable your portable media, flash your memory, a common aspect of malware, spyware, and you can verify all those things and all those statements by reading some of the Snowden documents. So this FBI Toolbox, however, is not a big deal anymore. In 2001, when I discovered it, it would have been a big deal. because then the idea that the FBI and the CIA are spying on us illegally would have been, a bit scandalous. Nowadays, we know that everything the government says is a lie, and they've been lying to us all along. And Snowden has 1.7 million documents, has only released a few hundred. So my calculations show that roughly if Snowden were to release one document every day continuously for time as it goes on, marches on, that he will be releasing documents at that rate for some 4,500 years. That's how many documents Snowden has. Now, I released one. It's about 50 pages long, and you can read it at this website. Now, it's no longer important really so much as a spy tool, because it was another failed FBI initiative. They're famous for being failures in the computer world, although they're getting better. It was a failed spy tool. So this story isn't really the FBI toolbox anymore. It's what they did to cover it up, and that's a fascinating story, and I've calculated that they've wasted at least $20 million doing that. On another video, I'll explain all that for you. Now, the tour of the property is self-explanatory. It was once a very nice place. It was an oasis. There's a river next door. There were plants. There were nice houses. There was a beautiful art room I had, and all kinds of things were stored there. And it was just about ready to go in production as a pistachio ranch. I had well drilling equipment, water towers, things like that. It was all removed. Now, there's no doubt that the police were involved, because this took many, many days and heavy construction equipment to do, and there's a lot of neighbors around that were watching. So the very last part is something that they did to send a message again, and that was they took time to go through all my photographs and stab a lot of my relatives, kids. I have photographs going back 100 years. They took the time to stab a lot of photos, and you'll see a photo of Bridget Anderson. This was given to me by her father. He was my friend from Malibu. I lived in Malibu for many years. I took architecture and real estate photos there, and I knew a lot of actors and things. And Frank Anderson, Frank actually, her dad, was my friend, as well as Jason Miller, who was the actor who starred as the father in the original Exorcist. Now, they found Bridget's portfolio of photos that her father had given me and ripped them apart and scattered them, in addition to smashing her movie. I don't understand why they need to do that to a little 5-year-old girl's memory. Now, Bridget died in about 1997 of a drug overdose. She was one of those young stars who followed the wrong path. She got involved in heroin. She died in about 1997, and out of respect to her family and her dad and mom, who gave me all these photos of her and things, I kept those things in a file all these years, and actually I haven't really looked at them, although I might have looked at the movie once or twice in the last 20 years. So they found these things and smashed them and tore them to bits. And you can see Bridget Anderson in her movie that she starred in called Savannah Smiles. It's a cute little kid movie. It's still available in a lot of places. It's on DVD as well. Bridget, was just when she was with us, she was just the light of our lives. She was just a wonderful girl. And when her dad and Jason Miller used to come to my office, I had the first computer business in Malibu. And in 1982, when her movie came out, they used to come to my office because I had this newfangled thing called a computer. And in addition, I had several of these new things called dot matrix printers, which allowed screenwriters to actually type on a computer and correct before they printed it on the dot matrix printer. So Frank, who was a screenwriter for The Outer Limits, and Jason Miller, who was, of course, an actor and writer as well, who died in 2001. You love to come to my office and sometimes bring Bridget along and look at these new things which would help their writing abilities and help their writing output. So I can't tell you how angry I am. Not only the fact that they stole every single thing I own and everything that I've kept for my whole family for decades. My grandparents' photos go back over 100 years. But but I'm equally angry at what they did to the memory of this girl Bridget. I just don't understand this U.S. government and these crooks that they have collecting taxpayer paychecks. So this is the 13th day of the month, and it's the 13th year since I discovered and have been fighting this thing called the FBI toolbox, and I really think that's a bad omen for them. I know that these criminal pigs are going to burn in hell, but I hope there's just some way that I can cause them some hell while they're still in this world. Anyway, the video follows.
Soon.
Sheriff, there are lots of questions about how the fire started at the cabin, whether that was on purpose by the Sheriff's Department to set it ablaze, that was something that happened as a result of the tear gas that was fired in there. Can you explain how that transpired, what happened?
I can tell you that it was not on purpose. We did not intentionally burn down that cabin to get Mr. Dorner out. Our deputy sheriffs are some true heroes. They're highly trained, and I will tell you that I'm proud to be a member of this department, and our deputy sheriffs did a great job.
Check out what they did. Pretty funny. Completely looted and burned the whole place. "25 years, 30 years of accumulation and work." All my grandparents' photos when they were young. That's a running car. There was a Ford truck right here, not running. No, Ford van, excuse me. Ford van only needed a fuel pump. 25-foot travel trailer. Apparently they didn't bother to use the door when they broke in. Built this by hand. Guess they needed 2 doors.
here's my college diploma. Me when I was 8 years old or 6 years old. There was a 20-foot container there full of motorcycles I inherited from my dad and my grandfather. I don't know how the hell they got that out of here. I guess the neighbors didn't see a thing. 20-foot container with 2 sheds attached to it, full of motor motorcycles and bicycles stuff. And you can see they burned what they didn't want. So it's all good stuff. Can't believe they'd steal all my shirts. Said they got my underwear and socks too. Guess you're gonna need those. There were 2 houses right here. 10 by 12, peaked roofs, 2 of them, and a running car. That's a running car over there. This one right here had a $50,000 plus book collection. It's pretty sad right here. This was my friend's daughter from Malibu. She was an actress. She died of a drug overdose when she was about 25. She was in a movie, and me and my friend went to see the movie when it premiered over in Westwood, and I didn't take these pictures, but my friend, her dad gave them to me. Here's her name, Bridget Anderson. That's her name. I haven't seen her dad in a long time. This would have been the portfolio their dad gave me. Hand out to other people, see if we get her work, but she got plenty of work without me. This is the kind of thing they destroyed.
And our deputy sheriffs did a great job.